Hello viewers and welcome to episode 3 of Java. Today's topic we're going to be discussing is user input. Right, without further ado, the next thing I'm going to say is start the slideshow. So we get to look at the scanner class, and of course we've got to look at the comma traps, especially the next line. Next line, that's my favorite trap. Right there. This is a bit tough because I'm also going to show a deadly trap to the next line. I ask you to make that error on purpose. I want you to make that error on purpose. And understand the code. I got through all the data as well. So, like I started. Now, scanner. Scanner class is required for inputting data. When inputting line, the syntax in console turns green. So if you see that, that means you're inputting data. Java, and that means Java is accepting input. If you have no scanner object and didn't use the method that we outline, you can't really type in the console. Now, the scanner constructor, how it works is, it passes one argument. Normally the argument is system.in, meaning the user can pass in your character, your type. However, that's not the only argument. It can also pass in a text, so it scans that text. It can also, another thing viewers, it can also scan in the file output. Remember, it can scan the data. Whether you want to scan into it, you can scan the system wherever you type, file, and that text. For this case, we're going to cover text and file. We're going to cover text and the input. Now, argument can be, okay, it can be form of string and so on, and that argument is scan. Now, here we're focusing on string. Now, here the next line. This is one you don't want to be careful using this. However, you be careful because here's the thing. If you use other method like next int, it can weed out the number, but it doesn't weed out the return key, which is a /n. It does not weed out the /n. And next time if the next line is called, it forces to weed out the /n. It weed out in one line. You got to be careful there. /n does count. That, as I discussed that, doesn't weed in. And this control a larger error. That's where it gets nasty. And that's why, and I show that off, of course. And of course I'm definitely gonna show that on purpose. Now we can work around. Couple things will work around. The next line, well, the next line can be converted to integer. You must use integer parsings, and so you put this in. So wherever argument you put, okay, and it will return, it will convert that to integer. And that way, first of all, you put this in, you get the return in, so you also get the return in. That's also get you the return in, and you don't have to worry about that. But you can convert that to integer, and then out of that, it's including the /n. And you convert that to int, parsing, and the /n is removed. And next line, if you use next line, you go to the next line. If you do this first, and wherever you get the results, that converted to int. Be careful there. I'm gonna show a couple of parse method. Input next line, return a string. Now, yeah, it can be return a string and can read in /n, and then you can convert the integer. Alternatively, you can use input next line, but it can be efficient and consume another line. So there's a workaround with that one. If you put next int and you're about to use the next line, you be sure you use this input next line. Can cover that. I showed that off again. So they cover that one /n at the end, and then you can continue on. thing is, you can in parsing is that you can wrap into try catch. If you use that, you need to wrap in the try catch statement, which I discuss in the future. Next, we'll look at the other method which I put in the code. First, we're actually going to look is the delimiter. We're actually going to do delimiter. And delimiter isn't easy to do. I have done a couple of attempts, and I tried to get the delimiter right. I'm telling you, it requires practice. So this might be a good time to practice the delimiter. So be sure you know this, because we will come across this again, especially in phi exercise. So just like you to know this firsthand. But I'll go through this again. We'll put in a different class, so we'll practice as the delimiter. Now I wish that I have good way of explaining the delimiter, so I have to go and explain a lot better, and that's what my failure is. Now the delimiter return a pattern. Don't worry if you do not know. The delimiter is used in splitting up wherever you scan. So you can just eliminate whenever you come across space, a word, F word, all that. You can remove that word by putting that word into the delimiter. You can put a /n into the delimiter, and that's just square. You just skip that. That's how it works. There is a larger error for this. If you get it right, there is many larger errors, but be sure you get the space right. Now it would take a lot of practice to get this right, and we do by writing more code. The larger error risk is very, very high, so you need practice. The only way you get through that is practice. Now, this next thing, it does follow a larger operator xy. So if you see larger xy, now if you see xy no sign whatsoever, xy, this how it works. Xy, it's actually x and then followed by y in the correct order. That's the one to be careful of. It's not x and y. It's actually x followed by y. It's not multiply, not anything like that. None larger error is x or y. They don't take precedent over larger error xy. They don't. They do not take precedent over this. They don't. In fact, that would actually come last. It doesn't work like bird mass. If our community is xy and then /z, it's not x followed by y or z. It's not that. It's actually x followed by y and bracket or z. It can be either of this or this. Be very, very careful with larger error and how it takes precedent. Now this one start the string delimiter such as white space tab. It's actually start the string. Now it may be confusing at first. It start the string delimiter. It start the string delimiter. Now it might be confusing naturally. Okay, it starts the string, and that means that is an X. So you get an X here. I show you off. It's hard to explain. What is the difference between next and next line? That's the next thing. Next chart, next. Now, next return where it come before the space. Okay, before the space. That is just basically word. It doesn't include the /n. Next line return what come before the next line. So next line return next integer. Next char. I don't think there is a next char, but we'll move on. Now syntax or major. So here the syntax that could be possible. You type in new scanner bracket instead of new scanner system.in. you need to pass in an argument. This can cover around 5 seconds, so if you want to input something, be sure you don't forget this. And there's confusion of next line over read line. It's next line. Read line is in C#. For next end, next char X, it could read incorrect data type. Make sure it is reading the correct data type. Typically in professional practice, you want to put some exception. You're going to be a lot of try and catch. You want to make it error proof. And much later on. You don't have to worry about it now. In later episode, you might want to cover the errors. Using set delimiter instead of use delimiter. It's actually use delimiter is the answer. Media for variable, and be sure to have a different variable. Now, confusion, next line confusion. Like as I discussed, it's very tricky. You want to make sure they are spotted. Next line within the /n, that does. So you make mistake like this. I type in a number. Now I put a next int and a next line. So I'm going to ask myself to put in number and then a string. But what you don't know is if you put in int and you read in that int, it doesn't read in the /n. It just read in the number, but doesn't read the last /n. And then with the next line come in, if you expect to read a string, it's actually read that /n, and that's it. It's done. And you can't enter in more string. You won't be able to input in more string. Be careful there. The only way to cover that is put another next int directly after the next line inside, directly after the next int. So another is poor understanding delimiter. The poorer understanding, the worse this can become. There really no time relating to this episode. However, while loop, this is possible and important to hunt for that. Now, here is the pseudocode. Anyway, first of all, you make a scanner class. You prompt the user to enter numeric value. Assume user had numeric value. This is done first. So it's going to be next int. Don't worry about exception catching right now. Then you want to read in the next int. We in next line to cover the leftover /n. That is very important. Leftover /n. Prompt the user to enter the string and read in the next line twice. Now use a loop for that, by the way, just for the sake of argument. Print out all read lines and int. Now for the second pseudocode, make out a text. Yeah, make out text. We do this again for reading file much later on, but for text from now on. As scanning, this time we're going to pass in this text argument this time. Then we're going to add the delimiter that take apart the white space, or we're going to take apart 0 or more white space followed by sheep followed by single white space. Now I'm going to try to explain what the delimiter as best as I can, and this is very important. Print out the text many times, reading word by word, okay? So we're going to do that next. Now for the third pseudocode, we make another scanner class. We prompt the user to enter and read it out at the end of the following. So we're going to do this in order. We're going to actually do it in order. Now we're going to pretty much use a case. But we're going to prompt the user with a special. It's that J option pane is actually show option dialog. See, I want to get this line right. I show that off. I hope it. Yeah, show option dialog. And now what you need is you're going to need a way, but that more is better explained when I show the code, by the way. And I want you to do 3 possibilities: int, double, and string. And wherever it is, you are prompted to enter either int, double, string, depending on what you chose. And assuming, we're going to assume we don't make an error, so don't worry about exception. So do this in order: int, double, string, string, and enter another string and get the second character. Now, I have done this in Microsoft Typing because oh boy, did I get, and oh boy, it did work. I tried this Microsoft Typing, it did work because you see, we're going to do the same thing. You type them in Microsoft Word and you do this as well. I had done this off screen and practice getting right. I done that. I asked you to do the same thing, and I wish you best of luck. Now, by the way, in Microsoft, you want to watch a double quote. So if you paste on the if you paste the code in Microsoft Word, make sure you replace the double quote. Yeah, it doesn't really work. Just replace it. And single quote too. Once silly error, you're not ready to move on to next episode, and you have to start again. And this will force you to practice and force you to think. Try not to look back at the internet if you can, and try to remove some bad habits. Think what you're doing before typing. Just think carefully, think logically, and if you do this, you'll improve. Now your lesson I'm going to give you, you're going to make use of the algorithm I show on Microsoft Word. So wherever I show you on pseudocode, it's pseudocode, and I ask you try not to look at the internet, not even Java document. And this will help you to think more. For Java college exam, you may actually have to write on paper, or if you want to type, you're going to be on Microsoft Word. Think before you do. Practice this a couple of times. Keep practicing until you become good. The lesson 2, you want to make a dialog box. It's actually an option dialog, and you need to write a dialog box code. It's a very difficult one here to do, very hard, and it actually, I think, passing 7 arguments, I think. We see how it goes. Then after that, you can use switch, and for each case, you can use a string into the console, and so on. Then after that, try and make error on purpose. Again, stress test it. Now this is my reference. This is my reference how I got. Now stack. If you don't know how I do use a delimiter in Java Scanner, this one should help. And that's it. Now how much time we have? We're doing good. 17 minutes. Alright, now let's have a look with the okay. Anyway, let's have a scanner class here, okay? I'm going to have a look. So anyway, here's the scanner class. Now, I want to show you the scanner class. So anyway, this is the scanner input. I'm going to put, you need an object for that. So I have created an object of a scanner. Oh, by the way, I'm not going to really type the code, so I want to pretty much save time. Just want to pretty much save time, okay? And make the video shorter. Scanner input, new scanner start assistant.in, that's the argument we're passing on. Now, here we are. I'm going to ask you into numeric value, and this one we're going to get in option first one, and then we're going to option equal input.nextInt. That will give me a number. Then, but we're not done yet. And then this is the tricky part. I'm going to do something wrong, by the way. I will. And then we're going to do into string and second string, and we're going to do this equal input.next line, and same thing for the next one, and without the option. Now, this is what I've done wrong. This is the wrong way to do, and here you go. So let's hit 1, and I'm actually going to make a mistake on purpose. So we're going to enter. Remember, it's without in green. Make sure there's no error. Now, you see, it asked me to enter first string, but it already did that. But yeah, I say into 65, it doesn't read in the next line. It did not read in the slash n at the end. When I just hit return key after into 65, the next end did not read. So this one read in that slash n. So basically, when you get to first string, skip that and move on to this. Popeye. There you go. That is the wrong way. But there's a way. I just show you. And if you just, and assuming there's no error, now if you just use this, when I use the next line, don't forget. But if you use that, input dash line, that means you take the return key. Watch this. Numeric value into 32. It got the slash n in, and at the same time convert integer. Pop. Aye. And there you go. That is how you solve it. But that's assuming there's no error. Yeah. Yeah. That's how you do it. Sounds simple. And then, next line, please. You see, that's the next one. Yeah, that's another. Okay. Another way is, and this is very inefficient, by the way. Of course, you do have to do a try catch. You know, can't have all that. Another way is, because it does read out as int, you can put this in. Now, we can put in a number, and we can still put in the string, and there you go. That is how you cover that. Alright, let's move on to the next episode. Now, I want to do the delimiter, and this is my delimiter. Okay, this is my text. I actually gonna pass in a text. It's test. Sheep, AX, you know, I'm not gonna read all that. Move on next. By the way, type any text you like, okay? But be sure you include those. Sheep, include the sheep. And that's it. You get the scanner input, new scanner test. You pass in a text, by the way, a string. So put in test. Scanner input, new scanner, and the argument is test. Now we're going to need to put a delimiter. Input use delimiter. Now this is how it works. Okay, I'm going to explain a couple of things. First of all, remember, you don't confuse the slash. That is the white space. Now, you see the stars? That may be 0 or more. That's a star. Then, watch out. You're still in the same. You're still starting a string, and then it's followed, and then that's 1. Okay. So that means you get into a couple of space and followed by sheep. Right there. Okay. That's 1. But we're not done yet. But now watch out for this double line, because it's actually follow another. Because you see that? That means it starts a string. That's why we need a double slash. Remember, slash S stands for backspace. And remember the reference I show you. You can read over that. Remember the reference I show you. I show you the reference one more time. You can read that. Okay? Read that. That should help you. I show you this. Sorry now. Sorry, I didn't mean to show you this Yu-Gi-Oh. Sorry now. Should not have done that. Okay, and this is pretty much. And this is the note. And this is this is what you type in, and this is what it stands for. So we should have a look. Okay, helps. That is my one. Now a /s. Now this one, that's one. Now and then it's actually followed by, and it'd be another string. You start the string and then you put a /s. Now, and that's it. So I'm gonna put in, and then I put in followed by. Now, and all that, when we're pressing or, you do the same thing. You start the string, /a, capital S is case sensitive. And then you follow by. And then you follow by /s. When you're starting a string. Oop. You follow by /s. Now again, you will use another or because it's right there. And then the only thing you're going to do is backspace. Be careful with the or. And then if I refresh you on the operator again, just go back. If I can look at the Delimiter, they're the operator. Okay, that's really the only two. When x, y is x followed by y. Okay, the only way to get that is y. You have to start with a string. Start the string delimiter for y and for x. For each of x and y, you need to start the delimiter. You see, you start with this and that. Be sure you don't forget that. And that's all. Be careful with that, and be careful what I taught you in slide 6. Right, and that should help you. Now remember, do not use. Now, okay, now I'm going to show you the mistake. I'm going to show you the incorrect way of this. I'm such a nice guy. This is the wrong way. Here you go. We start the string delimiter, /s, backspace, and one more. Then start with sheep. But this is a logical error, by the way. But I took this. But I was thinking doing this, sheep or sheep. I was thinking this, the or go first. No, it does not go first. That's where the mistake comes in. That is wrong way to do it. And then you start, and then you see you didn't. Yeah, and then you start the string again. This is where it gets confusing, and you really mess up. And you put another or /s. Alright, now this is the wrong way to do. Now, as you see, it's skip the shape. Now you see, as you see, skip the sheep, AX, skip the sheep, 1, 2, 3, skip the sheep, YOU, and you see you get all this. You see you get all this silly logic error. I don't know fully, but I actually figured out, and that is the best way I can explain. Where is my delimiter? There you go. So if you do this right, you get something like this. Now, one more thing we're going to do is the killer. Okay, and we have one delimiter, all that. Alright, here we go. We go through this again. Now, /s. And by the way, it doesn't really work. It's just a /s. It's just part of the string. And then I put in a check, and I tried all this. Doesn't really work. Right, this is my text. The limit, I only separate the slash s. Next, another text. And pretty much repeat it again. I use a next int. But yeah, I just want to do so. Now, oh yeah, I put in a check for reason. Yeah, that's just, it's a bit complicating. But it's just, basically this is just an input. I just do an input, and then you need to put in string. This is the thing. How long am I for your last thing? 30 minutes. Okay, we're nearly done. Type your string char or float, and you do a check to, and then you do a for loop. And this is where the for loop is. Then you're gonna, I had to put declare int, by the way. I equal to 1. Start at 1. And then as long, and it just, and this is the way, this is as long as I is less than 7, and then you increment I. I don't worry if you do not understand the for loop, but basically I'm going from 1 to 7, and enclose with a bracket. The bracket's down there. Then what I do is I do a check to. You need an int for that. I use it because this one show option dialog. I got to write. It return an int. Where it return an int. Then you go no, and you. This is the text that appear in the text box. Which one you want to do? This is the title choice. Now J option pane. You do the default option for and question mark. Question message. Just memorize those. You pass in 8 of them. Then no, and then pass it in a string away, and that is my string away. It's actually a string away, and then that is the default button. It be this one, and then you go check to just as a check, and then you go through the check. You input next int, next line, and next float. Watch out for the next line, and I show you what happens if you put next int and next line. This okay. Let's show you. Now what you want to do? Now this is what happened. Oh, I didn't mean to enter next string, but I put IO. I put a next int. Oh, that's me. That's my check, by the way. And I put 65. But it does not put in next things, because if I do this, gone. That's my larger error. That is my larger error right there. Because notice I clicked string, but I wait out the string, and it forced me to do this again. That is a larger error. I'm telling you. Oh, by the way, if I press X -1. So I hope you enjoyed that. And this is basically, so if I enter rev, I show you off one more time. So if I want to type it int, it go through the switch, and you see it's 0, it go through the case. See check 2, it just go through check 2, and you see my check is 0. I have this. It read this out, and it has asked me to put in the next int, and it's break. Very important to put that in, and so on. I want to stop right there. So this go, and so on for the same thing. 1, 2, 3 when you enter the next string, and then char. But it had to be done. By the way, it must be done in the correct order. Absolutely mandatory. That's absolutely mandatory, and so on. Now, of course, there is a larger error, because if I do this and this, and then I do this next, there's a larger error, because this, if you try that, when you as soon as you enter this, that's going to read out the leftover /n. Please be careful of that. Alright viewers, I think that's it. That's all I can say about this video. I hope you really enjoy this lovely episode 3 user input. And like I said before, if you're just standing there listening to me, viewers, go and open that Eclipse. If you've done that, watch my video again. This time, open your Eclipse or any Java program and type the code as I talk. Understand? Good. Now, if you like the video, you got entertained, you're energized to do more code, well, subscribe to me. And please wait and come on my video if you want some help and if you want to improve my video. This is fun. And let's work as a community. And I see you in the next episode, episode 4. More focusing. So for now, this is Gryff-User signing off.